Hello, it's Jez from Bees for Business. So I've loaded up the truck today because the weather is amazing. I'm so sorry that it's been a while for us to get the first video across to you for 2018. The weather has really not been kind to us because we've had, you know, a really cold start, and then it looked like it was warming up, and then it wasn't warming up, and then it snowed again, and then there was more ice, and then it looked like it was warming up and it wasn't. So we've been chasing our tail, and that meant that we were sort of 4 or 5 weeks behind. The beekeeping season started late, which meant that there's a lot of catching up to do when you first open the hives, because we don't generally open the hives from sort of October through to March, and we check on them through various different measures, but we don't open them up because it's too cold. So it looked like we were going to get ready in sort of March, and then it wasn't, and then April was good. And anyway, long story short, this video is going to be quite long. They're normally quite nice and snappy and short videos, but I really want to explain, you know, and apologise that it's been so late, because that's not normally how we like to do things. We've also had to have a little bit of a change around. Some of the hives have had to come off of where we normally keep them on the farm to one of the out apiaries. We had a farmer that this year grew canola, oilseed rape, around different areas of the outside of our farm, and that meant that changed the bees' flight path. So the bees were flying up the path that people walk down to get to the toilet when using the barn, and there were bees flying everywhere, and it was a real nuisance, so we had to move them. So we've got some still here on the farm where we normally run the videos. We're heading over today to the other apiary just around the corner from the farm, and hopefully we'll be able to have a good look there, and you'll be able to see all sorts of different things. We've started, a couple of the colonies have been so lovely, just an absolute joy to work with. Calm bees, really disease-free, really healthy, that we've started using them to breed from. So we've split some of the colonies, which basically means you take some of the frames out with the bees, let them create a new queen, and you sort of end up with, rather than just everything in one beehive, split into 2 smaller beehives, and they grow up to be bigger beehives. So there's a little bit of that, so there's stuff all over the place. So enough of me rambling in the truck. Let's drive out, and we'll get cracking and show you inside your beehive. Okay guys, so this is your hive, and you'll notice that it's extremely busy, and you'll also notice that you're in a slightly different location. So these were moved about a week ago, and I'm going to do a quick kind of check on all sorts today. Now I'm using a new microphone, so I'm hoping you'll be able to hear me. So just give these guys a puff of smoke. It's a really busy time of the year for honeybees. I'm hoping that we're going to see in here an awful lot of honey. So you'll notice that this top, you've got 2 supers. The supers are where the honey is normally made, and there's a reason for that, why you've got 2. Because we were running desperately out of space, and to stop them from swarming, not we were running out of space, your bees were running out of space. So the queen had started laying very quickly and a lot, and so what you're going to find, oh wow, so here your bees have started building wax onto the crown board, that's this thing here, because they're still running out of space. There's an epic amount of honey being made here. I'll see if I can take one of these out without disturbing them too much. I probably can't, so I'll leave that in there. So we'll put that back, kind of roughly how it was. So this all needs to come off. This is where I do my best Rambo impersonation, because this is going to be so heavy, because we've got 2 lots of honey supers here. I just need to prise these apart a little bit, because these are all going to be stuck together. because we haven't been in here for a while and I don't want to take the queen excluder with me. So, wow, that is incredibly heavy. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, so you are left with the queen excluder, and hopefully, because there is a possibility that she might have got through here, but I'm quietly confident that she won't have. Is always unfortunately a bit of a possibility, so we're going to just very quickly take this off. Sorry ladies, not the best example of how to take a queen excluder off. We're here. Okay, so I'm going to need the other one. So this, because it's the first time we've been in here for a while, we're looking for a number of different things. Making sure they've got enough room, making sure your lovely queen is still in here and that she's laying eggs, checking for disease, and generally making sure that everything's alright. So we take this back one out nice and gently. There is serious need for more space here, so we might have to put a third super on. You can see there's loads of really dark, you might not be able to see that dark red pollen in there. Plenty of honey, so that's lovely. The dark red pollen in this case is actually horse chestnut. One of the other things this time of the year that we want to make sure your honeybees have is a queen that's happy, and that these guys are happy with the queen. Because if the bees determine that they need more space, or the queen isn't right for whatever reason, they will start to make queen cells, which is their way of getting a new queen, and that's sort of okay, but we need to be on top of that because the result is that they could swarm. So the queen's been laying in there, there's lots of larvae, and there she is, there's Queenie. Great big one with a yellow dot. She's doing very well. There's a lot of extra, this is what we call brace comb, and we're going to get rid of that because we don't want all of this stuff hanging around at the bottom. This is the bits in beekeeping that sometimes takes a little bit of time. So you have to be a little bit delicate when there's bees around. If they make brace comb on other stuff, you can just kind of get rid of it, but when there's bees on it. Now, seeing Queenie, I've now got to find her to make sure we don't damage her when she goes back. And she's really far back on here in terms of where she is from the hive, which means she's laying all over the place, which means that it's a really strong colony, and that's great news for you because it's healthy and you get plenty of honey. It's also great news for me because it means that they are more likely to easily fight off disease or pests. So remember, the smoke just distracts them. It effectively simulates a fire in the wild. So they think, oh crikey, if there's a fire or I smell smoke, I best go fill my stomach with honey, which will give me plenty of glucose and energy. Should I need to make a sharp exit. Now, they have enough room now. This would have been made before we put those two supers on, and because I'd only just moved them, I didn't want to disturb them, because it takes them, I like to give them a little couple of days just to get used to their new surroundings, go and find different places, obviously, because they exit the hive thinking they're going to go and find stuff on the farm, and then realise when they get out of the hive they're not on the farm, so they have to go find other places to get pollen and nectar. Okay, so that's going to go back in there. And what we do need is a way just to solve the space crisis. So your beehive may well end up with another super on top of it, which would make 3. I mean, there is just the queen is desperately running out of space. You can tell there's just nowhere left for her to lay. So this is why we're getting queen cells made, and why they're drawing this comb down here, because they are running out of space. So what I'm going to do is make sure we have all of the frames, which we do, and I think I might split this colony, and by that I mean that we actually put it into another beehive to make it a little smaller, because when they're running out of room, there's only one way this is going to go with such a strong, healthy colony, and that's that they'll swarm, and we really don't want that. We'll lose bees. These guys are pretty lovely to deal with. I've got kind of my favourites, and this is one of the favourite colonies, or one of the better colonies that I like. I like seeing how they are. So don't worry about me, girls. You all go downstairs, please. I'm going to take this wax out your way. You can't have it. It's mine. You don't need it. Come on, off you pop. And then we're just going to... They're all so many of them, they kind of run out of space so quickly to find out where to go. Of course, now that it's getting towards the breeding season, the queen has been laying male bees as well. Of course, over winter they've only been about, well, sometimes 0 male bees, at the absolute most, a couple of hundred. So far I found absolutely no signs of any diseases or pests. And the common one, particularly where there's loads of trees like there are around here, is wax moth. But there's none of that I can see, so that's great. And that's sort of I would expect with a colony like yours, frankly, because it's so healthy and so strong. Come on, girls, back in, please. I know, I'm sorry. There we go. It's windy, huh? Well done, girls. Thanks very much. Super lovely of you to let us have a little look inside and meet you all. We'll all go back in there. So Queenie's in there, she's laying, no disease, really, really, really lovely colony. I'm just going to get rid of some of this wax while we're here, so it doesn't stick. Some of these now are fanning their bottoms in the air saying, quick! Somebody's intruded us. Queen excluder, really important that goes back on here, because otherwise, if the queen gets through, she'll start to lay eggs in the honey supers, and then you don't get any honey. Okay, cool. Right, so this is going to go back on here, and this is heavy, I remember now. 1, 2, 3. Crikey! I mean, you guys have no idea how heavy this is. I mean, like, really heavy. Oh, man. It's exciting. Right, that's that. So probably what we'll do is another time, maybe later on in the week, I'll be back. Just give these guys a little calm down smoke, so they're a bit distracted again. And I'll actually pop back and split them up, so you've got a really, really lovely big beehive.